The world watched closely. In the heart of Doha, two powerful figures met. Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi and Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan shook hands. This encounter on the sidelines of the Asian Cooperation Dialogue Forum was no small matter. It signaled a potential thaw in the icy relations between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Could this be the start of a new era in the Middle East? The meeting, while brief, carried immense weight. It followed years of animosity and mistrust between the two regional giants. Diplomatic ties had been severed in 2016. Now, under the watchful eyes of the world, they were talking again. The venue was significant too. Qatar, a key mediator in the region, provided a neutral stage for this delicate dance. The image of that handshake resonated across the region. It was a potent symbol of hope. Hope for dialogue, hope for de-escalation, hope for a more stable and peaceful Middle East. But the path ahead was still shrouded in uncertainty. Could these two rivals, with their history of proxy wars and bitter rivalry, truly find common ground? The world waited with bated breath. The future of the Middle East might hinge on the answer. The talks in Doha were shrouded in secrecy. No detailed statements were released, but the stakes were clear. A multitude of pressing issues hung in the balance. Regional conflicts topped the agenda. The ongoing war in Yemen, a proxy battleground for Iranian and Saudi influence, cried out for a resolution. The Syrian conflict, another theater of their rivalry, demanded attention. The future of Lebanon, caught in the crosshairs of their regional competition, was also a concern. Beyond these immediate flashpoints, broader security issues loomed large. The Strait of Hormuz, a vital artery for global oil trade, had witnessed a series of maritime incidents. The specter of escalating tensions, fueled by the shadow war between Iran and Israel, added another layer of complexity. The talks, if they were to succeed, needed to navigate this treacherous landscape. They needed to find ways to bridge deep divisions and build trust. The global implications were undeniable. A Middle East in flames would send shockwaves across the world. Energy markets would be thrown into turmoil. The refugee crisis could worsen. Terrorist groups might exploit the chaos. The world held its breath, hoping that reason and diplomacy would prevail. The meeting in Doha was just one piece of a larger puzzle. Iranian President Raisi's visit to Qatar was a calculated diplomatic maneuver. It showcased Iran's desire to engage with the international community. The Asian Cooperation Dialogue Forum provided the perfect platform. Iran, long isolated by sanctions and suspicion, sought to mend fences. It aimed to project an image of a responsible regional player. Raisi's presence at the forum sent a clear message. Iran was ready to talk business, both literally and figuratively. Qatar, with its deft diplomacy and strategic location, provided the ideal backdrop. The tiny Gulf state had carefully cultivated a reputation as a neutral broker. It had successfully mediated disputes in the region before. Now, it was playing host to this high-stakes encounter. Iran's diplomatic offensive extended beyond the meeting with Saudi Arabia. Raisi held a series of bilateral meetings with leaders from other Asian nations. The message was clear. Iran was open for business and ready to cooperate. The world was watching, waiting to see if these overtures would translate into concrete action. Section 4. Shadows of Conflict. Iran's warning to Israel. Even as diplomacy took center stage in Doha, the drums of war beat on. Iranian President Raisi, in a fiery speech, issued a stark warning to Israel. Any aggression against Iran, he vowed, would be met with a swift and devastating response. The timing of this declaration, coinciding with the meeting with the Saudi foreign minister, was no coincidence. Iran was sending a clear message. It would not be bullied. It would defend its interests, even as it explored diplomatic avenues. The shadow of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict loomed large. Tensions had been escalating for months. The ongoing negotiations over Iran's nuclear program, a major point of contention between Tehran and the West, added fuel to the fire. Iran accused Israel of sabotage against its nuclear facilities. Israel, for its part, viewed Iran's nuclear ambitions as an existential threat. This dangerous dynamic threatened to overshadow the fragile diplomatic efforts in Doha. The world watched with a mixture of hope and trepidation. Could diplomacy triumph over decades of animosity and mistrust? Or would the Middle East once again be consumed by conflict? Section 5. Charting a new course. Implications and uncertainties. The meeting in Doha marked a potential turning point, but the path ahead remained fraught with challenges. The handshake between the Iranian president and the Saudi foreign minister was just the first step on a long and arduous journey. Could these two regional rivals, with their history of bitter rivalry and proxy wars, truly find common ground? The implications of success or failure were enormous. A rapprochement between Iran and Saudi Arabia could reshape the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East. It could pave the way for resolving regional conflicts from Yemen to Syria. It could usher in an era of greater stability and cooperation. But the obstacles were formidable. Deep-seated mistrust, competing interests, and the involvement of external actors cast a long shadow. The international community had a crucial role to play in supporting dialogue and building confidence. The world watched and waited. Would this be the dawn of a new era in the Middle East? Or would the shadows of conflict once again engulf the region? Only time would tell.